joining me today. We're going to spend the next several minutes talking about the new product that we've launched here at Seven Corners called Green Cover. What I intend to do, or what I hope to do today, is give you a bit of information that you can then consider. If you've got questions, feel free to type them into the box that's on your screen, depending on what kind of device you're using. You should see a box that says question. If you type that in at the end of the webinar, I'll do my best to answer those questions. If I don't have an answer, I will point you in the direction of your specific sales rep so that they can circle back to you, or you can circle back to them to get the specific answer to a question if I happen not to know what it is. So again, thank you everybody for joining me. We're going to go ahead and get started on this new product called Green Cover. What is Green Cover? In a nutshell, it's a product that's really designed for non-U.S. citizens between the ages of 60 and 95 who are residents, permanent residents of the United States, and it's designed for those folks as they wait to become eligible for Medicare. So it's really a pretty specific product, but I think one that has a very large opportunity for those of you who sell in the space where people are immigrating to the United States to live for extended periods of time. In this case, you have to be in the United States in most situations, for at least 5 years before you become eligible for Medicare. And that time frame in between, there just really isn't another product on the market exactly like this that will allow you to fill that need. So to reiterate, it's for people who have been in the States for in this case, less than 5 years, and it's designed for people age 60 up through age 95. That can be a gap filler, as it were, while they wait to become eligible for Medicare. Once they become eligible for Medicare, they're no longer going to be eligible for this plan. One of the things that differentiates us from another product in the market that's similar to this is the amount of coverage. We can do up to 364 days of coverage, which is nice for those folks that are here and want something more than just a temporary, maybe a short-term medical plan that may be 3 or 6 months, depending on what state that they happen to be in. They can apply for and buy a new policy, because this isn't a permanent policy. It's a buy, go through underwriting, and then buy, go through underwriting if they want additional time periods. It will give the people who are in a position where they can still qualify for coverage a more major medical style plan than going the short-term medical route. Like most major medical plans, there are a handful of deductible options that are going to be available. One of the differences is going to be, and you can look at the brochure, for those of you who got the invitation, you should have gotten an email that included a brochure. You'll see some deductibles are only available based on age ranges. I did include those here, but there's a chart. So as you can imagine, as you move up the age band, certain lower deductibles are no longer available. But in a nutshell, here are the handful of deductibles that are available. Everything is an 80-20 split, as it were, to $10,000. So very straightforward plan, very familiar for those who are selling in the major medical space, and very familiar for those who are purchasing in the major medical space. One of the things that will be obviously very different from a traditional major medical plan, or in this case, because the folks are moving towards Medicare, is the fact that there are going to be caps based on the age band that they happen to be in. So if you look at your screen, you'll see the first age band has a cap of $250,000, and that policy maximum is determined by the age band that your client happens to be in. And so as you're talking to your clients and they're making their considerations, those are things obviously that will be a part of the discussion that you have with them. Again, not a lot of competition in this space, and so I think there's a lot of opportunity to be had. Additional things about the plan that I just want to draw your attention to are pre-existing conditions. Like most traditional major medical plans prior to the ACA becoming the law of the land, pre-existing conditions were part of the backdrop, and that is going to be the case here. And so there are going to be some pre-existing conditions excuse me, that are going to be a part of the application process. So as you're going through the application process, just be aware that if they've got a pre-existing condition, the coverage is going to be to begin on that particular condition after a waiting period. So be sure to, as you're going through with your clients, measuring whether or not this is the right policy or is not the right policy, that you're making sure you're covering the pre-existing benefits, as it were. There are also some specialized benefits, and I won't read them all to you. You can kind of, as you look through, figure out which things will be something of concern to your client. So, for example, if you're looking at the screen, you'll see there's a cap on Alzheimer's disease. In this case, a $25,000 lifetime maximum for that person. So whether they buy something that will run the 364 days and then reapply and try to go another 364 days, there's going to be a lifetime max on that particular condition of $25,000. So just be aware as you're going through and talking to their clients. It's a major medical style plan, but there are going to be limits that are going to be something that need to be considered as you go. The application process is really straightforward. It can be done on paper if that's the way you want to go, but one of the real benefits here is the ability to do an online application. So the person can complete the application online, and then within 2 business days, the application will go through the review process, as it were, and you'll have a yes or a no, a thumb up or a thumb down on whether or not your client is going to receive coverage. So it's going to be a very straightforward process, particularly if you've got clients that are going to be coming in from traveling and that kind of thing. You won't have to worry about trying to collect something from them, an application from them, and then faxing it in and tracking it that way. It's all done electronically if your client is so inclined to fill out the application online. The coverage dates are very straightforward. The coverage dates are going to be the date that you request or the later of that date or when we receive payment. So they can pick whatever particular effective date that they want. Some products on the market might limit you to either a 1st or a 15th as your effective dates, and so you might have a period of time that they have to wait another couple of weeks because of only having 2 effective dates that are an option. Here you've got a full range of whatever day of the month that they want in the future, so they can always pick tomorrow as their effective date and then go through the underwriting process. Lastly, one of the things I just want to bring to attention, one of the other things that's really very nice about this plan versus some of the stuff that's in the competition or out there from the competition in this space, is our extensive provider network. So a client can take a look and find a provider to see if they are in network, and the benefit to them is that they're going to get the network discounts to go along with it, obviously saving them money. Now, the flip side of that coin, the question probably will come, is participation by this client with a network provider required? No, it's an indemnity product. They can go to whatever provider they would choose, and then whatever is usual and customary would be how we would pay on the plan. So they can go to whatever provider they want, great, or they can choose to go to someone in network and take the network discounts that go with it, and the benefits would be the same. It's just whether or not they're getting that discount. So it's a really big difference between us and the other competitor in this space, and it's one that I think is probably pretty significant. The last thing here is the pre-cert things that are on our list. Like many other plans, there are going to be things that are going to need to be pre-certed. Inpatient care, for example, CAT scans and MRIs, that kind of thing. When you're talking with your clients, I'm sure you're going through the plan design in full detail, but just wanted to make sure I highlighted that before I ended our time this morning. So that is the high-level overview of the new Green Cover plan that launched actually yesterday afternoon. I want to thank you all for joining me this afternoon. For those of you in Eastern Time and the rest of you in other time zones, thank you likewise for joining me. It's early there for you. I appreciate it. If you've got questions that you'd like to ask, by all means, reach out to your sales rep. And on your screen, you should see all of our sales reps. If you don't recognize the name of your rep, just call the 800 number and press 0. Our sales assistant will look you up in our system and make sure that we get you paired up with the sales rep that is assigned to you. I don't see any questions yet on the little screen, so I will say thank you so much for joining me today. If you've got questions about identifying and selling to groups, our travel medical and our trip cancellation products, next week I'll be conducting a webinar at the same time, and that webinar will be not product specific as such, as much as trying to help those of you who are interested in identifying groups, and talking to the groups and then selling our products, that's what that webinar next week is going to cover. Thank you so much for joining me today, and everyone, have a good afternoon.